Zerani moved carefully through the tall green grass, her 4 slim fingers gripping the scanner like it was a delicate glass toy. The air of Earth felt heavy and warm, far thicker than the soft, cool air of her homeworld, Zilara. Every breath made her chest feel tight, but she did not stop. She was a xenobiology student on her first research journey, and she would not ruin her report by complaining. Her class had been told many things about Earth. Some called it the wild planet, others called it the home of danger. And a few even whispered old stories about humans being fierce, unstoppable creatures. Most of it sounded exaggerated to her. How dangerous could a primitive species be? She lifted her scanner to examine a nearby plant. The small machine buzzed and hummed in her hand. A blue light blinked twice. Plant type, simple, not harmful, the scanner said. Zerani nodded. Good, one normal thing at least. She walked forward, stepping over a fallen tree. Her boots sank into the damp soil, leaving small prints behind her. Earth looked messy and chaotic. Plants grew in strange shapes, and the ground was uneven. Nothing about this planet behaved the way it did back home. Behind her, Professor Lyran spoke through the communicator. Zerani, keep your distance from the old compound at the south edge of the valley. Our readings show unstable technology there. Yes, Professor, she replied. But curiosity tugged at her mind. The maps showed that the south area had once been used by humans long ago. The compound was marked as abandoned. But the humans had left something behind, something the elder scientists were too nervous to approach. Zerani looked around. She was alone in this part of the valley. The others had gone north to study insects. She had time. Only a little walk, she told herself. Just a quick look. She turned toward the south. As she walked, the sky grew darker with thick clouds. A cool wind brushed her cheeks, and the air smelled like rain. She soon found the old metal fence surrounding the ruined compound. The metal was rusty and broken, and most of the fence had fallen into the dirt. Vines crawled along the walls of the structures inside. Looks safe enough, she whispered. She stepped through a large gap and entered the site. The ground was littered with old cables, metal scraps, and strange rectangular tools that no longer worked. Everything looked abandoned for centuries, but then, something blinked. A small blue light, deep inside a cracked building. Zerani froze. Her heart beat faster. She looked around, nothing moved, nothing breathed. The air was still. She took one slow step. The light blinked again. It wasn't random. It was trying to signal something. She swallowed hard and moved closer. Inside the building, a large pod lay half buried under debris. Its smooth white shell had cracks, and dried vines wrapped around it like ropes. But one small control panel remained intact, glowing faint blue. Zerani frowned. She raised her scanner. Unknown technology. Power low. Life support mode active, the scanner said. Life support? Her eyes widened. Could there be a living organism inside? Impossible. The pod looked ancient. No human could survive that long. Yet the panel blinked again. She crouched down and wiped dust from the display. Strange symbols appeared, old Earth characters. Stasis mode. Emergency guardian transfer. Host required. Zerani blinked. Host? Transfer? What does that mean? Before she could study it further, the pod made a sharp click. The display flickered. A hiss of stale air escaped from the cracks. Wait, stop! I didn't touch anything, she shouted, backing away. The pod did not listen. The blue light grew brighter. A circle of symbols spun across the panel. The scanner in Zerani's hand beeped wildly. Warning, it said. Biological data unstable. System searching for compatible organism. Compatible organism? With what? She stepped back again. But the floor beneath her shifted. A loose metal plate slid, and she slipped forward, falling against the side of the pod. The pod beeped. The display changed. Compatible host found. No, 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 I am not a host, Zerani cried. A bright beam of pale light shot from the pod and wrapped around her like warm air. She couldn't move. Panic spread through her chest. The scanner in her hand shook violently, and then shut down completely. Guardian transfer beginning, the pod announced in a calm mechanical voice. Zirani tried to scream, but the air around her felt thick. A wave of strange energy washed over her body. Her vision blurred. She felt something press against her chest, but not physically. It was like a small presence. A warm spark of life, entering her body but not harming her. It did not hurt, but it was terrifying. A soft thump echoed from inside the pod. Then silence. The light faded. Zirani collapsed to her knees, gasping for breath. The air felt hot against her skin. She looked down at herself, shaking. Nothing seemed wrong at first. Then she felt a small humming pulse at her abdomen. Not painful. Not strong. Just present. Her communicator buzzed. Zirani, Professor Lyron's voice called. Your signals disappeared. Report your status immediately. Zirani opened her mouth, but only a weak whisper escaped. What happened? Are you injured? No. Well, I don't know. She pressed a hand to her abdomen. The humming pulse grew warmer under her touch. The pod had forced a transfer. It put something inside me. There was a long silence on the other end. Then, in a very serious tone, the professor asked, Zirani, what kind of pod? A human stasis pod, she said quietly. The communicator crackled with static. When the professor spoke again, his voice had changed tight, nervous, afraid. Do not move. Do not touch your abdomen. Stay calm. I'm sending a medical transport now. Zirani's heart beat faster. Professor, what's inside me? Another silence. The last stasis pods used on Earth carried living humans in suspended animation, he finally said. If the pod completed a transfer, then you are now carrying its occupant in a protective host chamber. Zirani felt the world spin. She grabbed the wall to steady herself. A human is inside me? A developing one, the professor replied. It's not traditional pregnancy. It is a bio-womb protocol. But it means the same responsibility. You must return to Tsalara immediately. Only our home labs can safely extract it. Zirani shook her head in disbelief. No. No. That can't be right. Humans are supposed to be impossible to contain. Dangerous. Violent. Exactly why this is an emergency, the professor said. Zirani sat on the dusty floor, trembling. She had imagined many problems on her first field mission. Broken equipment. Maybe a small injury. Maybe a lost data file. But this, carrying a wild human? Her mother was going to faint straight to the floor. The humming inside her grew slightly stronger, like a heartbeat that did not belong to her. She placed a shaking hand over it, and felt the warm pulse again. It was not threatening. It was gentle. Calm, but that only made it more frightening. Professor, she whispered. What happens if it wakes up? Zirani, he said. Whatever happens, it must happen on our homeworld. Stay where you are. Help is coming. The communicator went silent. Zirani leaned back against the broken wall and stared at the ruined pod. The blue light had gone out forever. The stasis pod had chosen its guardian, chosen her without permission. Without warning, a soft breeze blew through the broken building, stirring dust around her. The sky outside rumbled with distant thunder. Zirani looked down at her hands, then at her abdomen. What have you done? She whispered to the silent pod. What have you made me responsible for? For the first time, she understood why her people feared Earth. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were strange. Humans were wild. And now one of them was inside her, waiting to awaken. The medical transport ship raced through space with a soft humming sound, lights blinking calmly along the smooth interior walls. Zirani sat in the center seat, her hands clenched tightly together. She kept her gaze low, staring at the small rise and fall of her abdomen, where the strange warm pulse continued to beat softly. Dr. Varian, the ship's chief medic, walked around her slowly, his long coat swaying behind him. He held a tablet in one hand and a nervous expression on his face. The stasis transfer is stable, he said, checking the readings. The human life form is not dangerous at the moment. At the moment? Zhirani asked quietly. Dr. Varian sighed. Humans are unpredictable. Even the smallest one can surprise us. But the bio-womb chamber your body created should protect both of you for the journey. Zhirani nodded, though her chest felt tight. She never imagined that her first return home after her field test would be like this. She never imagined arriving with the most feared species in the galaxy inside her. Outside the ship window, the bright blue rings of her homeworld, Tsilara, came into view. Cities shimmered like crystals against the planet's purple oceans, elegant and peaceful. Home, but she wasn't arriving as a normal student. She was arriving as someone carrying a living human. Her mother was going to panic. The transport landed at the central port, and Zhirani stepped out slowly. The air smelled familiar, cool, sweet, with a slight metallic scent from the city domes. It should have comforted her, but her heart still pounded. Her mother, High Archivist Yura, stood waiting. A tall, graceful woman with deep violet eyes, wearing the flowing robes of a high-ranking knowledge keeper. Her calm presence usually comforted Zhirani, but today, the moment Yura saw her daughter, her face changed. First confusion, then shock, then sharp, immediate disbelief. What? Yura said in a low voice. Is inside your abdomen? Zhirani swallowed. Mother, please stay calm. Dr. Varian stepped forward. High Archivist, we have a situation. Your daughter was accidentally chosen as a guardian host for what? Yura demanded, her voice rising. For a human, Dr. Varian said. The port grew silent. A few guards nearby froze in place. Someone dropped a tablet to the floor. Uhura's eyes widened, her voice suddenly sharp. A human? Here? Inside my daughter? Zhirani's ears burned with embarrassment. She wished she could disappear into the ground. It wasn't my choice, she said softly. The stasis pod forced a transfer. I fell against it and, you went near an abandoned Earth structure? Her mother cut in. Zhirani? What were you thinking? Zhirani lowered her eyes. She had no excuse. Curiosity. That was it. And now everything had gone terribly wrong. Yura took a deep breath, clearly trying to stay composed. We need to get her to the sanctuary lab. Immediately. Dr. Varian nodded. It is ready. The sanctuary lab was a quiet, circular building filled with glowing screens and soft medical beds. Everything was designed to keep rare or dangerous organisms safe. Zhirani lay down gently as medics connected her to soft cables that monitored both her and the developing human. Her mother hovered by her side, arms folded tightly, worry and irritation mixing in her expression. I cannot believe this, Yura muttered. A wild human. In my house. In my family. Zhirani winced. Mother. Please. I know you didn't mean for this to happen, Yura said, softer this time. But this is serious. Humans are not like other species. Their emotions are intense. Their instincts are extreme. Their survival drive is legendary. Zhirani remembered the warm hum inside her and felt a strange twist of nervousness. It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels calm. Calm now, Uhura replied. Until it wakes. Dr. Varian pulled up a hologram showing a glowing form inside Zhirani's body curled, small, but unmistakably human in shape. It seems the human is not a newborn, he explained. Stasis slowed development, but it already has a memory system. When it wakes, it will act like a young teenager. Uhura looked horrified. A teenage human? That is the most dangerous kind. Zhirani couldn't help it, she laughed nervously. Her mother was dramatic, but she wasn't entirely wrong. Teens of any species tended to be chaotic. Then a soft echo of emotion touched Zhirani's mind. Confusion, warmth, a faint voice-like impression. Not words, but feelings. Zhirani gasped. What is it? Yura asked sharply. I felt something, Zhirani whispered. From the human, Dr. Varian stepped closer. The neural guardian link is forming. You may feel the human's emotions until extraction. Zhirani pressed a hand to her abdomen, stunned. She had felt another consciousness gently brushing against her own. Curious. Lost. Trying to understand where it was. It wasn't frightening. It was strangely gentle. Hours later, Zirani was taken home. Her mother insisted. If the human wakes unexpectedly, the labs will panic. Better to have you somewhere safe. Safe? Zirani doubted she would ever feel safe again until the extraction was over. Their home was large and filled with floating lanterns and soft glowing walls. Usually peaceful. Today, however, when the door opened, the family pet, a small, puffball creature named Nithi, took one look at Zirani, squeaked loudly, and hid under the furniture. That is not a good sign, Uhura said grimly. Zirani sighed and lowered herself onto the couch. Every step felt heavier these days. Not painful, just weighted with responsibility. Her mother paced back and forth. We must inform the council. They will panic. Or they'll want to examine you. Or, worse, they'll try to take the human. Zirani's heart squeezed painfully. She didn't even know the human yet. But the thought of someone harming it felt wrong. Protective. Strange. We can't let them, she whispered. Uhura stopped pacing. You care for it? I don't know, Zirani said. But it feels small. Confused. Scared. How can I not care? Her mother stared at her for a moment, then sighed. You always had a soft heart. That night, while the house was quiet, Zirani sat by her window looking out at the city lights. She placed a hand over her abdomen. Can you hear me? She whispered. A soft pulse answered her. Warm. Curious. Zirani's breath caught. There is a whole world out here, she said gently. And you will be safe. I promise. The pulse grew warmer, like a quiet thank you. Uhura walked into the room silently, catching the last part of the moment. Her expression softened a little. You are already forming a bond, Uhura said. I didn't mean to. Zirani whispered. That may not matter, her mother replied. She placed a hand on Zirani's shoulder. The council will want answers. They may not allow you to keep the human with you. Zirani tensed. They can't take it. Not yet. Not while it is so small inside. They may try, Uhura warned. Humans are rare. Some want to study them. Some fear them. And some think it is best to freeze them again. Zirani felt a flare of protectiveness rise inside her. Not her emotion, not entirely. She felt it from the human too. A faint, raw instinct. Don't lock me away again. Zirani placed both hands on her abdomen, speaking firmly. I won't let anyone hurt you. Uhura watched her daughter quietly, then nodded. Very well. Then we will fight for your right to protect it. Thank you, Mother. But first, Uhura added, lifting her chin. We need to prepare for when it wakes up. Zirani blinked. Prepare? How? Uhura gave her a serious look. If humans are as intense as the stories say, then we must make the house human-proof. Zirani groaned softly. This is going to be hard, isn't it? Uhura nodded. Very. But beneath the worry, something new formed in the house, a strange, growing feeling. Not fear, not panic, something else. Hope. Morning light spilled softly through the crystal windows of Zirani's home. Everything was quiet, peaceful, and calm. The kind of calm that usually meant trouble was only seconds away. Zirani lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. She had barely slept. All night, she felt the warm pulse inside her growing slightly stronger, as if the human was shifting, stretching, preparing for something big, and she knew exactly what that something big was. Today, the human might wake. Her stomach twisted nervously. What would it be like? Would he panic? Would he scream? Would he break everything the moment he opened his eyes? She didn't know. She only knew one thing. She had to be ready. Uhura entered the room quietly, holding a tray with warm blue tea. Drink, her mother said gently. You need to stay calm. When the human wakes, your emotions will affect it. Zirani nodded and took the cup with shaking hands. The tea warmed her fingers, but her mind stayed restless. "Mother," she whispered, "what if he is scared of me?" Uhura sat beside her. "He might be. But you already created a bond with him. He will recognize you as the first safe presence he felt." Zirani touched her abdomen gently. "I hope so," Uhura sighed. "And if he is like the humans in the old records, he will be loud," Zirani groaned. "I don't want him to be loud." "Too bad," Uhura said dryly. But her mother's humor faded when Zirani suddenly gasped and grabbed the sheets tightly. The pulse inside her changed. It grew sharper, faster, like a faint heartbeat waking from a long sleep. Her breath caught as a rush of emotions flooded into her mind. Confusion, brightness, a sudden fear, like opening eyes in darkness. And then, a voice like echo. "Where am I?" Zirani's eyes widened. "Mother, it's happening." Uhura stood up immediately. "Stay calm. I'll contact Dr. Varian." But before she could move, Zirani cried out softly as another wave of energy spread across her abdomen. The bio-womb chamber shimmered faintly under her skin. A sparkling ring of light formed around her belly, glowing brighter and brighter. The extraction had begun. Dr. Varian arrived minutes later, rushing into the room with a small team of medics. His face was pale, but his hands were steady. "Move her to the support bed," he ordered. The medics gently helped Zirani lie down on the soft, glowing medical bed. Machines around the room began to hum to life. The extraction field activated, casting a soft blue glow over everything. Zirani breathed hard. "It's okay. I'm okay." "You are doing well," Dr. Varian assured her. "The human is waking quickly. Its neural energy is increasing. Prepare for consciousness." Uhura held Zirani's hand tightly. "Stay strong." The room grew brighter. A sphere of light rose from Zirani's abdomen, slow, soft, almost peaceful. Inside the sphere, a faint silhouette formed. A human form. A boy. Curled gently, as if waking from a deep dream. Zirani felt a warm surge in her mind. A voice. Clear, this time. "Is someone there?" she whispered. "Yes. I'm here." The form inside the sphere shifted. The light cracked like a shell breaking open. Then, with a soft whoosh, the sphere dissolved. A young human boy lay gently on the bed beside Zirani, breathing softly, eyes tightly shut. His hair was messy, brown, and his clothes, a simple stasis suit, were old and worn. He looked fragile, confused, and very, very human. Everyone froze. No one spoke. Then the boy's eyes opened, bright, sharp, alive. His gaze darted around the room, panic rising in his expression. "Where? What? Who?" Zirani sat up slowly. "Please, calm down." He turned toward her, breathing fast. "Who are you? Where am I? What is this place?" "You're safe," Zirani said softly. Her voice, her presence, something about them eased him. His breathing slowed slightly, and his shoulders lowered. Uhura muttered under her breath. "Not too loud so far." "That is good." The boy glanced at Uhura, then the medics, then Dr. Varian. His eyes widened again. "You're all not human." Zirani gave a small, nervous laugh. "Yes, that is true." The boy stared at her again, confused. "And you?" "I remember something. I felt someone's feelings. Someone talking to me. Was that you?" Zirani nodded. "Yes. I was your guardian." Guardian." He blinked. "Guardian? What do you mean?" Dr. Varian cleared his throat. "Your stasis pod malfunctioned. It transferred your life support into this young woman. She carried you until we could extract you." The boy's jaw dropped. "She carried me?" Zirani's face turned bright blue with embarrassment. "It wasn't my choice. It was an accident." The boy raised his hands. "I didn't say it was bad. I've never heard of anything like that." Uhura narrowed her eyes at him. "What is your name?" Human. He hesitated. Eli. My name is Eli Jones. Zerani repeated it quietly. Eli. A warm feeling pulsed between them, a gentle recognition from the bond. Eli looked at her again, his expression softer. So you're the one who kept me alive. Zerani nodded shyly. I tried my best. Thank you, he said sincerely. The room fell silent for a moment. Then everything exploded into chaos. The medical bed behind Eli suddenly collapsed, not dramatically, just a soft crack, and Eli jumped back in surprise, accidentally knocking over a floating monitor. The monitor spun in the air, bumped a light panel, and the entire room flickered. Dr. Varian shouted, Careful! Humans are heavier than they look. Eli stumbled, panicked. I'm sorry. I didn't mean I just sat. The chair beneath him groaned loudly and broke in half. Uhura whispered to herself, Oh no. The stories were true. Zerani hid her face behind her hands. Please stop touching things. Eli raised his hands in surrender. I'm not touching anything. For a moment, no one moved. Then, slowly, Zerani lifted her head. It's okay. It's not your fault. Our furniture is delicate. Eli shrugged awkwardly. I guess humans aren't. Dr. Varian cleared his throat again. You will need time to adjust. But for now, we must test your vitals, your memory, your neural stability. But Eli's stomach growled loudly, cutting off the doctor. Zerani blinked. What was that? Eli blushed. I'm hungry. Everyone froze again. Uhura whispered to Zerani. Feed him carefully. Humans have powerful appetites. If he eats too fast, he may break something. Zerani sighed. Mother, please stop reading old human legends. Later, after the medics finished checking Eli's health, Zerani sat with him in the living room. She handed him a cup of warm fruit broth. He sniffed it cautiously. What is this? Food, Zerani said. Liquid food for recovery. He took a sip, then smiled. It's good. Zerani felt relief flood her chest. Then, slowly, Eli looked around the room. This place is beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. You're not scared? She asked quietly. He shook his head. I was scared in the pod. Not now. Why not now? She whispered. He met her eyes. Because you're here. The bond between them hummed warmly. Zerani felt her cheeks heat up again. You're calm now, but things will be difficult. The council fears humans. Eli frowned. Why? What did humans do? Stories, Zerani said softly. Stories say humans are unpredictable. Too strong. Too emotional. Too wild. Eli laughed softly. I mean, we are pretty emotional. Zerani smiled weakly. Yes, I noticed. But I'm not here to hurt anyone, Eli said. I just want to understand where I am, and why I'm awake after so long. Zerani nodded. I will help you. Just then, the house lights flickered again. Uhura shouted from the kitchen. Eli, what did you touch? Eli jumped. Nothing, I swear. Zerani sighed. Eli looked at her helplessly. Is everything here really this fragile? Her ears drooped. Yes. Oh boy, Eli whispered. And despite everything, the danger, the fear, the chaos, Zerani laughed. For the first time since the accident, she truly laughed. Maybe humans were wild, but maybe. Wild wasn't always bad. Eli stood near the wide crystal window, staring out at the alien city glowing under a pale lavender sky. Floating platforms drifted past tall, curved buildings. Hover lights danced between the streets like tiny stars. Everything felt impossible and beautiful at the same time. He pressed his hand gently to the glass. It's like living inside a dream. Behind him, Zerani watched with a soft smile. This is normal for us. Normal, Eli repeated with a laugh. Nothing about this place is normal. He turned toward her. She looked calmer than before, wearing a soft blue robe and a gentle expression. The bond between them hummed quietly, like a warm thread connecting their thoughts and emotions. Even now, Eli could sense her nervousness, because today was important. Today, the council wanted to see him. Are you ready? She asked. No, he said honestly. Then he shrugged. But I'm going anyway. Zerani chuckled. That sounds like something a human would say. The council hall was a massive, shining dome with swirling patterns etched into the walls. Inside, 12 council members sat in floating seats, arranged in a half circle. Their robes shimmered like shifting waves, and their sharp eyes tracked Eli the moment he walked in. The room went silent. Eli swallowed hard. He could break this silence with one wrong step. Zerani walked beside him, trying to hide her own anxiety. Yura stood behind them, hands clasped behind her back, proudly protective. Counselor Rithara, a tall alien with silver markings on her face, spoke first. Human Eli Jones. Do you understand why you were brought here? Eli nodded. To decide what happens to me next. Correct, Rithara said. Humans have been lost to the galaxy for hundreds of cycles. Your species was known for its unpredictable behavior. You must prove you are not a danger. Eli breathed slowly. I'll try. Another counselor leaned forward. You have already broken 3 chairs, 1 scanner, a food dispenser, and 2 hovering lights. Eli winced. Technically, one of those lights fell by itself. Zerani whispered, Eli, please don't argue with them. Right. Sorry, he whispered back. Counselor Rithara tapped a crystal tablet. We have 2 options for you. Option 1. You return to your original planet, Earth. It is currently under observation. Observation? Eli blinked. You mean, someone is watching my home? It is under study, the counselor said simply. And option 2? Eli asked quietly. Counselor Yavrin, the oldest member, leaned forward. You remain here and serve as a link between our species. An ambassador. Eli felt his heart jump. Ambassador? Me? But I don't know anything about politics. Or diplomacy. Or important things. You know humanity. Yavrin replied. And that is enough. Zerani looked at him with worry. She didn't want him forced into something he couldn't handle. But she also didn't want him taken away. Eli took a deep breath. If I stay, what will happen to me? You will live under supervision, Rithara said. Your actions will be observed. Your health will be monitored. And you will be trained to represent your species. Eli hesitated. And if I go back to Earth? A strange silence fell over the room. Yavrin answered slowly. Earth is not what it was. Your people are missing. Eli froze. Missing? What does that mean? No human cities remain active, the counselor said gently. There are ruins, but no living humans. Your species was believed lost. Eli's breath caught painfully, his chest tightened. Every terrible thought ran through his mind, his family, his home, the world he knew. Gone? Zerani reached out and gently touched his arm. Through the bond, she sent calm, warmth, support. Eli closed his eyes. He could not return to a ruined home. He could not walk away from the only people who had helped him. And he did not want to leave Zerani. He opened his eyes and said, I want to stay. The council members exchanged surprised looks. You accept? Rithara asked. Yes. Eli said firmly. I want to help. I want to learn. And I want to show you that humans aren't dangerous monsters. Uhura nodded softly. Zerani smiled with relief. Counselor Yavrin raised his hand. Then it is decided. Human Eli Jones will remain on Tilara as the first ambassador of the human species. A deep chime echoed through the hall, sealing the decision. Later, outside the council chamber, Eli leaned against a railing, breathing deeply after the stressful meeting. Zerani stood close by. You were brave. I was terrified, Eli admitted. My voice was shaking. But you chose the hard path, she said. That's brave. Eli looked at her. Zerani, if I had chosen to leave, would you have been sad? She blushed slightly. I would have been devastated. A warm feeling touched Eli's chest. He didn't know if it was from the bond or from his own emotions, maybe both. Then I'm glad I stayed, he said quietly. She smiled. So am I. A soft rumble of thunder rolled across the sky. A storm was forming above the city, dark clouds spinning unnaturally fast. Uhura rushed toward them from the hall. Something is wrong. The storm is pulling energy from the power grid. It may cause a citywide blackout. Zerani stared at the sky. But the shield generators can handle storms. This one is different, Uhura said urgently. It appeared too quickly. The generators are failing. Suddenly, parts of the city lights flickered off. A wave of darkness spread through the lower districts. Eli felt a rush of energy inside him. Instinct. I can help. Uhura raised an eyebrow. How? Eli looked at Zerani. Remember the old human tech I fixed earlier? Our machines were built to survive chaos. I learned to work with systems that were breaking. Zerani nodded. It's true. He adapts quickly. The storm grew louder, and the city trembled. Uhura hesitated, then nodded. Fine. Follow me. Inside the generator tower, chaos erupted. Sparks flew from broken panels. Workers shouted instructions. Machines roared with failing power. Eli rushed to the main console and opened the panel. The wiring was a tangled mess of glowing threads. I need a tool. Zerani handed him a multi-tool. This one? Perfect. Eli's hands moved quickly, adjusting connections, twisting cables, releasing power buildup. He worked like someone who had repaired things his whole life, but it wasn't enough. The storm hit the tower with a violent pulse. The generator shook. We're going to lose everything, a worker yelled. No, Eli muttered. Come on, just work with me. Zerani placed her hands on the console beside his. What can I do? Match the energy flow, Eli said. Like when we felt each other's emotions. She nodded and closed her eyes. The bond between them glowed faintly. Energy from Zerani flowed softly into the system, stabilizing it just enough for Eli to finish the repairs. The tower lights brightened. The generator hummed strongly. The city lights returned one by one. Eli exhaled deeply and stepped back. We did it. Zerani leaned on him, exhausted. Yes, you did. No, Eli said softly. We did. For a moment, the workers stared at him with awe. A human, the species they once feared, had helped save their city. That evening, Eli sat with Zerani and Uhura outside the house. The sky was clear again, glowing with soft purple stars. Uhura spoke gently. You have changed the council's view today. They will respect you more now. Eli smiled weakly. I didn't save the city alone. Zerani nudged him lightly. You saved it because you are human. Eli looked at her in surprise. Is that good? Zerani nodded. Very good. The bond between them warmed quietly, peaceful and steady. Eli gazed at the stars. I don't know what my future will be, but I want to help, and I want to build something new here, and you won't do it alone, Zerani said softly. Eli smiled at her, a smile filled with hope, uncertainty, and determination. The galaxy had feared humans for so long, but now, at last, they would learn what humans could do. And Eli Jones, the first human ambassador, was ready to begin a new chapter.